You're listening to the Life in General podcast with Tom and Jaye. An hour of informative commentary on today's headlines, current events, and what's going on around the world and around the corner. And now, here are your hosts, Tom and Jaye Darden.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Life in General podcast here with Tom and Jaye. This is episode, I believe, 39 coming at you, maybe 40. We'll have to see. We're just going ham here, people. It's been right. Absolutely outrageous. And we're going to start this episode off the same way we do every time and ask the man of the hour how he's doing down there in sunny Ecuador and kind of see what's going on, because I can tell you this, it's been raining here for the past 5 hours. Nothing like crazy monsoon rain for the past 2.5, but definitely something where you can tell it's winter, it's about to be spring, it's getting kind of wonky, and they're already closing schools in certain districts for tomorrow. So
wow, really? Well, I'm doing all right. It says it's 84 with light rain, but I don't think it's probably not raining yet. For the past week, it's been raining at night a little bit. And a couple of times really hard, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, it'd start raining really hard, which is unusual. The dogs start barking because they're not used to hearing the rain hitting the roof.
Because they don't bless the rains down in Ecuador. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Well, January, February is supposed to be the rainy season. January, February is supposed to rain every day. And then come March, through the end of the year, it doesn't rain anymore. I mean, it just doesn't rain at all. So everything's dry and hot, dusty, and all that stuff. So, yeah, it happens.
Well, there you go.
Good
stuff. Wow, man.
I have to apologize at the very beginning, because I left out. We were talking about healthcare workers, and I left out your Aunt Paula.
I don't think you left her out more so than maybe just hid her from the public eye.
Well, yeah. Well, maybe she doesn't want to be hidden, but she works in Louisville at one of the hospitals in Louisville, and she's been doing the healthcare, business since before you were born. Because I have to tell you this little story, and I know you wasn't there because you weren't born yet, so I don't know if you've heard it or not. But the first time I met her, it was really cold, and she was living in a little small apartment when your mom introduced me to her. That's her sister, and she was living there with her daughter Ashley, and she had a little Volkswagen diesel Rabbit.
A Rabbit,
and
right. You had to plug
she had
it in.
An extension plugged into the diesel to keep the fluids, liquid during the cold. And I thought that's pretty ingenious. But she's been a nurse for years, probably since you were born, or maybe before. But I didn't mean to leave her out because she's immediate family, and your Aunt Paula, and yeah. She's been in that healthcare business.
At your age, you probably want to write stuff down if you're going to make mention of people, because there's a lot of people to mention. There's a lot to go over. And if we didn't have our show notes and stuff, we just wouldn't get anything done. We'd sit here and just for the next hour or so.
I don't think that was called for, to just bang on me first thing about my memory, but.
Well, hey, if I'm right, you'll forget it anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I know, right? What'd you say?
Yeah, that's it. Huh? So gotta quickly shout out. We just had our end of January, beginning of February Christmas out there for the other half of the family. Shout out to all of our car listeners out there. Much love. It was fantastic. Always great to see everybody. We were postponed due to certain events taking place that have dissuaded folks from doing things over the past several years. But one thing you all might be noticing as I'm discreetly taking sips of certain beverages and whatnot is a gift that I got from Julie Carr and her side of the family. I'm going to stand up real quick, and then so y'all can kind of see what's going on.
Look at this. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Life in General. Good for you, man. That's very cool.
Now has merch coming at, well, I'm not going to say coming at you because I'm like, we're not that far yet. But the fact to see it in real life is just absolutely crazy. And I can't wait to take this into the office every now and then and just kind of, oh, hey, how are you? You having a good day? And just do the whole manager thing of, oh, what's going on? And then they look at the mug like, what's that? have you heard of this podcast? And just like got him. So thought it was crazy. So shout out to y'all. Love y'all. It was fantastic. And the blue on black, I think, is pretty slick. Kind of that neon, kind of beer sign kind of thing going on. So super cool. And thank y'all very much. Awesome merch. It's from Zazzle. So there are plenty of places out there that will do certain things like this for you, but that's what did this for us, and it was freaking awesome. So,
well, that's very cool. Merry Christmas to the Carr family. That's very cool. Late Christmas. You got to do what you got to do.
Yes, yeah. Late, but excellent, and right. Much worth it. We play this game. Shout out to everybody who plays left, right, and center. This is a game where you have 3 dice they're 6-sided dice, so much like you would see in a casino or whatever. But on the 6 sides, they have dots, all R's, L's, and C's. Okay, so what? I can never get the military fanatic right. I know Charlie, Roger, and then what? Lingo or like, comment, and subscribe. That's the L in the Lima. There you go. Lima beans, all that sort of thing. So anywho, we utilize like singles, good old George Washington's, and pass around $1 bills until everyone's out. Well, of course, the person who won was right beside me, because the object of this game is to keep or to have all the money, or have be the last person with cash, and of course they won it all. So that was super exciting.
There you go.
But it was a new member, or I say a new member, I mean, come on, that's not true, but it was a new person who won, if that makes sense. So always fun that reigning champions don't continue to reign. We cycle people out. And speaking of that,
spread the love. Spread the love.
Yeah, spread the love. So, well, that just means that Tom Brady's going to have to not win a Super Bowl anymore, because he's peacing out, right? Retiring. He had a hell of a run, super wild. And I know, hey, tell us down below, what's your favorite quarterback? Because Tom Brady, I'm going to have to pick somebody else, because if you're gone, you're gone.
Yeah. I don't have a favorite myself, but anyway.
Well, there ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Well, and it's something too, if you're not into it a whole lot, and I mean, and this by no means I'm a sports person or even a football person, but it is fun to be, and as what you all may have seen out there, our lovely 48 subs. Thank you all so much for sticking with us and joining up on the podcast and in our Facebook group. Link down below. And as much as everybody knows, I am a bit of a contrarian for the sake of 2 reasons. One, to try to shed light on other areas, right? And then sometimes it's just fun to not be on the same side as everybody else. What can you do?
I got you. It's been interesting adjusting down here to things that you don't get that you had up there.
Such as?
If that makes sense. Well, I mean
like a person who speaks your native tongue in every interaction?
Well, yes, that to begin with. But I used to always watch Channel 4, and I even had the app downloaded on my tablet. So when I was in Texas, I could watch Channel 4 and watch the weather and see what I'd be driving back into Tennessee, what the forecast was coming out of Dallas, or I could check the weather in Dallas, which was usually, I never ran into any, bad weather in Dallas, but Tennessee's another story. But anyway, I would always, Channel 4 just had the most accurate weather. So I downloaded the app and would get up in the mornings and go, okay, there we go. Plus the girls are not bad to look at either. The ladies they have working there. So.
Oh, okay.
That's
yeah,
right.
There you go.
Shout out there you go.
To beautiful people. You are beautiful. And the universe acknowledges it.
There you go.
That is pretty interesting when you're searching for not only weather, because of course it wouldn't matter as much to you at this point because you're not interacting or engaging with work and driving and that stuff as much. But it's the fact you also lose out on local news. And actually, that just fell into one of the best segues in the world, because one of the topics that we were talking about is I didn't know this. And of course, as most of you all know, I do live in a dark cave. That's why the screen is black. And then it's just a small thing above the hole that I live in as a Life in General podcast. So there are certain news things that blow by me. Okay. One of the things that I did not see is the rezoning of Davidson County.
Really?
I didn't see that. And
okay.
I was talking to my excellent colleague at work, and they just, I mean, I believe they live in Davidson County or very close. And they said, yeah, they're rezoning it. I mean, Tennessee is going to 100% become red through and through because you know how conversations digress. They go from this to this to this.
Right.
And they said, yeah, it's going to be rezoned. And then I think the Democrat who's in right now said, yeah, I'm not going to deal with this ever again because we're never going to win. It's got rezoned to the point where I forget if it's gerrymandering, which it very well may be. I'll have to look that up, where they're rezoning districts, right, to make sure certain people win based on certain demographics, right? Certain voting bases.
That's correct. Yeah, they've been doing that for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
That's
nothing
the
new.
Typical corruption. Yeah.
Nothing new, right? The interesting point of that conversation to me, I mean, rezoning Davidson County, okay, fine. I don't live in Davidson County. What can you do? But the interesting point to this whole thing was they said that minorities are going to have a harder time. Okay. I said, how? They say, I don't know. And I said, well, where did you get this information from? They said NPR. And of course, I love this person to death. They're amazing in what work they do, but not going and then trying to dig deeper into that threw me because, hey, I totally understand. You might, based on statistics, certain groups of people are going to vote certain ways and yada, yada. It's just going to happen. But when that is parroted, okay, something new's happening, group of people suffer. What does that mean? And how does that work? Tell us down below in the comments about what they may have meant, or if you think it's just more echo chamber, right? Where we talk about one thing and then, but we heard this, so we agree, or it's opinion validation or thought validation. Because that's what's happening a lot of the times when people are actually engaging in media and stuff like that. They just want to have their opinion validated, right? They want validation for thinking the way they do and then getting an attaboy for saying, or an attagirl, or atta them, whatever, for thinking or acting the same way another group of people is. It's validation, and I understand. It feels good. Like, validation feels great. But when there's no follow-up to, well, how? I don't know. Well, what does that mean? So the next person who might not be as inquisitive just goes, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Because they trust this person. Well, it's like, hold up. So now it's gone 3 levels deep, but we still don't know what's going on. We just heard it, and then it's becoming reality to a degree. But in reality, it's not, but people are going to be, against the system, against this, against that. And it just, I don't know. It's wild to me that people aren't more, I don't want to say contrarian, but they don't try to knock ideas down. Because the point is, if you can kill an idea, it wasn't a very good one. Right? So have good facts, have good evidence.
A lot of people don't want to put in the work. They don't want to put in the work to do the research, to have the receipts, to show that, that somebody's right, wrong, good or bad. I mean, it's time now. It's time to pick a side. You're either left or you're right. There's no right or wrong. There's no Democrat or conservative. There's left or there's right. And you got to pick a side, because it's getting like the thing with the Joe Rogan. The free speech thing is out of control. I mean, it's getting out of control. But it's like you said, people take that stuff with a grain of salt and then spew it, and other people don't know any different. because they're not going to do the legwork or look it up or educate themselves. You better educate your ass before November 2022. I think it's the 3rd or the 6th.
Yeah,
I'll have to look that up. I think it's the 3rd
or the 6th out there. But
of November.
When you say you got to pick a side, that is dangerous too, because then it becomes us versus them, and it's not. We're in the human race together. Now, we're not all holding hands.
No, we're not.
Okay, well then we're not.
No, we're not. We're not singing "Kumbaya" around the campfire with s'mores. Those days are gone.
Give me them s'mores.
Cutesy time is over, man. Cutesy time and playtime and all this bullshit, that's over, man. Everything is serious now. Everything is serious. Should be serious. People should take things seriously, and they don't. Of course.
Did you see where the who was it? The president of CNN just bowed out because of previous relations or friendships or whatever with certain colleagues? That was kind of wild.
Zucker, yeah,
right.
Yeah, he's got more money and knows what to do with, so he'll just go off into the sunset, and hopefully the coffee boy, Brian Stelter, Humpty Dumpty, hopefully they'll fire him too, because he's a liar.
What are you going to fire him for?
Because all he did was kiss Zucker's ass, and now there's nothing for him to do. They've proven him wrong so many times, he might as well leave, because CNN's ratings is just gone into the toilet, man. It's just gone down into the toilet.
Well, it looks like they're about to have CNN Plus or CNNQ or CNN whatever, where they're going to have a streaming platform like everybody else.
Anything to survive.
Right.
Anything to survive.
Well, and what is comical is that we got to the internet long before CNN, so that's a feather in our proverbial cap. There is we hopped on the digital space before them. So bully to you.
That's right. That's exactly right.
But yeah, the rezoning thing definitely caught me off guard there. I thought that was pretty interesting for sure.
When you look at the red in Tennessee, it's red in the east, Knoxville. It's red in the middle with Nashville, and it's blue in Memphis. Probably from the Tennessee River over, maybe Jackson. But Memphis has got Steve Cohen and Harold Ford, and all these jackasses that have been in office forever. John Cooper, all them cats live around the Memphis area. They're all Democrats. So they got a little blue corner over there, and they'll get pushed out. Eventually they'll get pushed out. So pretty interesting. Yep.
What did you want to speak on? I mean, speaking of people, red, white, and blue and all that, you wanted to talk about Senator Marcia Blackburn. What's the deal? She
keeps putting her face on the TV. So you have to watch her because she's got a plan. I don't know what she's up to, but she's vying for a different spot, which, I mean, that's okay. But she's on the Senate Judiciary Committee. And I watched an interview with her the other day, and basically the Senate Judiciary Committee are part of the people that do the Supreme Court nominees.
Right.
Yes. Right. They confirm those nominations. Well, the news feed that I watched the interview with her, you're basically telling us why you can't do your job. Just do your job. If somebody's on there, now Biden said he was going to pick a woman of color, a female of color, to be on the Supreme Court. And you have any other qualifications, Joe? I mean, do they need to know constitutional law? Do they need to know the Bill of Rights? Because if every justice went by the Constitution of the United States of America like they're supposed to, you wouldn't have 5-4, 6-3, and all that bullshit. It'd be 9-0 every time if you went by constitutional law and the Bill of Rights. It was written for a reason. It's written for you to enforce. It's not written for you to make your own opinion about it. You're not on the Supreme Court to have an opinion.
You mean interpret, right?
Yes.
That's the big thing. Yes. Is, are you a Bill of Rights / constitutional enforcer, right? Where you take it as verbatim, now understand this, I'm not sure if the founding fathers thought this is going to live in perpetuity forever, or is this a living document saying it can be adjusted as needed? I mean, understand there are amendments on that thing, right? So It's something where, could you imagine what the next amendment would be?
Why did they change it? Why the right to bear arms? You going to add or subtract to that?
Hold up. There are certain things on there that allowed certain people certain rights at certain times that made it better for everybody. So that's why we have to change it.
No. Okay. Well, I don't see it, but she's making excuses already about the nominees. Well, if you go back 10 years and Mary Smith is a justice nominee and she wrote some opinions or papers, or when she was in as a district judge or whatever her
district court or whatever,
whatever her prior job was, read those and understand that if she's not going to change, and if you put her in there and she's a radical or she's a crazy person, and I keep saying she because he's determined to put a woman in there, which I think is a load of crap.
Why do you think that's a load of crap?
Because it needs to be the best person.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't have to be man or woman. It needs to be the most qualified and best individual.
The reason why I had that follow-up question was to make sure you clarified your point, not just.
Well, I think it needs to be the most qualified person. But Joe said it's going to be a woman of color. That's all he said.
Yeah, because that's provocative.
Well, sure it is. But Marcia's on the Senate Judiciary Committee. Stop telling us what you're not going to do. She's your senator, buddy. Well, let me get my finger a little higher. She's your senator, and you're from your state. So you're paying her to be on this committee. She probably gets extra for being on the committee. Just do your job. You're on the Senate Judiciary Committee, so do the judiciary end of it instead of telling us why you can't.
Well, maybe they will.
Well, I hope they do. And I have to give a shout out to my Canadian friends,
there you go.
Kent and Leslie, for the new office chair that they gave me. Kent got a new one, so he wanted to get rid of his old one. So now I've got a new office chair. Ooh.
There you go. Hey, we love it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kent and Leslie, my Canadian friends, eh? And that segues me into
the good old schmegme. That's it.
Yeah. Talking Canadian trucker protest.
That is just an absolutely wild scenario to see. For one, Canada having news that is worthy, that is not something just silly in terms of, all right, we're going to do this or that. But seeing protests based on mandates, understand this, folks, it's not anti-vaccine. It is anti-mandate. They do not want people to force you to do anything. It was the same thing with Dr. Jordan Peterson when it was compelled speech. It's mandated speech. That is not what we want. We don't want you to have to force people to do anything. Oftentimes, we try to make things off limits that don't impede the rights of everybody. So, kind of crazy.
But you're mandating that I be vaccinated before I can cross the border.
Yeah.
As a truck driver.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a mandate for me to cross the border, eh? Right?
It's not a mandate for you to cross the border. The only reason why I'm saying it like that
to be vaccinated.
No.
You be vaccinated. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What I'm talking about is this. You could, assuming you don't own your own truck, right? You could just say whomever is crossing borders into Canada and not, I mean, show them what for and just don't do it. And it's a scenario that's like, okay, they may not make money for a period of time, but think about the voice that has. And
that's what they're doing right now.
It's just, hey, I'm not going to do, like, we're not crossing the border. Totally fine. We're just sitting here. And then it's like, okay, who is going to buckle first?
A news feed that I was listening to today said that Canada was our largest trading partner.
I could see it.
You could, in the logistics business, I figured you could verify that. I mean, more so than China, or more so than Russia, or more so than
we get way too many more shipments from China than we do Canada, but we're just one entity. So,
well, there's a lot going back and forth across the border, probably that we don't really know about. But They raised $10 million, $10.1 million in the GoFundMe.
That's nuts.
What did you need a GoFundMe for? I don't understand. I'm just asking, because when there's money involved, then, now they got 10.1 million sitting in the GoFundMe account. What are you going to do with that? Where's it going to go? What are you going to do?
My assumption would be is that they pay the people who aren't working for a certain amount of time, but I have no idea.
I don't either. It'd be interesting to see where that goes and how it's distributed. If it is, it just would be an interesting question. I mean, I didn't understand the GoFundMe account to support the drivers. They don't need your support. They need your support, but they don't need your money. Those girls make enough money. I hope it rolls into the United States, but I'll give you a little scenario after 16 years of driving. You can't get all of the drivers in the United States to stop for 24 hours. If you were to put out, now I don't know how you would put it out system-wide, nationwide. Okay, we're going to stop at 8:00 Friday morning or Thursday morning. We're going to stop wherever you are. Stop. Now you can go to the truck stop, or you can pull over the side of the road. You can block the road. We don't care. We're going to stop at 8:00 Thursday morning, and we're not going to crank back up again and start rolling until 8 a.m. Friday morning. Just 24 hours. Just 24 hours. You could paralyze the United States. You could paralyze it.
I was going to say, do you have any idea how strong?
Yes, I do.
People are?
Yes, and let me tell you why it'll never happen. Because I've been out there on the road for 16 years. Exactly. Some of the diesel, like the truck stops, they got 6, 8, 10 deliveries a day of diesel fuel. Well, if they stop rolling, hello, no fuel. You've got milk in a tanker that's going to go bad. You've got water. You've got produce sitting there on the side of the road that's going to go bad, or frozen foods. They're all in refrigerated trucks, but still, they've got time limits. That's time sensitive freight.
Right.
Just like UPS, FedEx, and stuff like that. You've got young drivers out there, and they get a job as a truck driver, and they're making $1,000 a week. This is more money than Billy ever made in his life, man. $1,000 a week. So Billy's got a young wife who just had a baby. Well, Billy bought a house, okay, and Billy bought a camper, and he bought a big hog leg pickup truck to pull the camper with, and he either got a boat or a motorcycle. Now, his wife's at home taking care of the baby, and Billy's out on the road. But Billy's so far in debt, he can't stop for one day. He cannot stop for one day because we won't get a check. We'll be living in a cardboard box under the bridge. We won't be able to feed the baby. The wife's over here going in Billy's ear, and Billy's like, "Okay, man, I'm gonna go drive." And they will not stop. And owner operators puff their chest out and go, "Well, it's my fucking truck. I'll stop and ride when I want to. Nobody. That's why I have my own truck. You can't tell me what to do." So you're not going to be able to get, even with them knowing the impact they would make, you're not going to be able to get them to pull over for 24 hours. Because if they did, they could paralyze America.
I mean,
get somebody's attention. They can get somebody's attention.
They could.
Holy crap, man. These trucks aren't rolling.
But understand this, too. How would you organize something like that?
I wouldn't even know where to start. Well, I could figure out where to start. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I could figure out where to start.
So they'll never do it because they can't for some reason. But it's a non-starter because you don't even know the first step.
They won't stop. I tell you how you organize it is truck stops. Everybody's got to stop for fuel. Everybody has got to stop somewhere to refuel. So that's going to be your focal point across the United States. You can get a truck stop guide that they give you, updated yearly, and it goes through every truck stop in the United States, all 48 continental United States.
And who's going to print this guide that says on this day or every quarter?
What I'm saying is they have those. The companies get those.
I'm aware of
that. When I first started driving, they gave one to me and they said, "Hey, we only buy fuel at the Petro, or we only buy fuel at the Pilot or whatever." So they give me one and they say, "This is where you're going, so this is where you need to stop." because we get a discount on the fuel because we buy, however many thousands of gallons a month. And blah,
okay,
blah.
let's say you wanted to use truck stops. What owners in their right mind would let you carry that message around saying, hey, we're going to stop one of the largest economies in the world for a day because we have a stick up our butts, air quotes. I mean, of course, I'm just speaking in generalities here, but who would let them do that?
Who let them line all those trucks up in Canada?
That's a good
Nobody
question.
Nobody let them do anything.
Well,
they did it.
How many trucks are
all
there?
Right, let's roll. I have no idea. But they're considering calling in the military because the police department thinks they can't handle it. Well, nobody's violent. Nobody's going to be ugly. They're just wanting to send a message.
They're proverbial.
They're wanting them to pay attention.
Well,
somebody pay the hell attention.
That's a very interesting kind of point there. What is wild about it is two things. One is Trudeau saying we have a small group of people who have a terrible way of thinking, which is this, right, against vaccines, but that's not really what's going on. It's being twisted, I think, slightly, but him being moved to a secure location is one of the craziest things in the world. Like, they're not coming after you.
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
they don't give a damn about him.
But something. Oh, yeah, you're not going to be out from my train of thought. Oh, the other thing about it is all they're talking about up there is the one Nazi flag that they saw.
Okay.
So the problem is,
I didn't even know there was one.
Right. Look at the sources that we're going back and forth with.
Yeah.
Okay. But everybody nowadays, or many people nowadays, they conflate any sort of it's not conflating. Hold on. It's not conflating. It's they reference something like, oh man, this is as bad as the Holocaust, or hey, this is as bad as this. This is as bad as this. And it always comes back to the Holocaust. And it's like, hold up. People are not dying en masse because of X, Y, and Z, which, hey, Whoopi just got like partially canceled for
Who
her.
cares about her? But, yeah, maybe they'll fire all together, probably.
But it's something where that, like, let's say you believe their cause is just, right? The second they see one person with a flag that's a swastika or whatever that might be, it only takes one. That's what's on the news. That's what stops whatever sort of forward progress you may want to have made, possibly. I don't know if it's forward, backwards, whatever. But people are going to see, oh, wait, it's a bunch of Nazis up there.
I bet you that flag didn't last 3 or 4 hours before they took it down and shoved it up somebody's ass. Truck drivers are not somebody to mess with, man. They're not.
That's fine. It doesn't matter if you're hardcore or not.
You're trying to skew the message.
That's the point, and it will succeed because the major news networks will take that flag. I'm telling you, they'll take it.
We know they're liars anyway.
That's fine.
We know they're liars.
But people will see it and hear it, much like my amigo at work. Hear it. It just is out there. Didn't do any more research, and then bam, you got a bunch of Nazis up in Canada starting trying to boycott everything.
What floor is your office on?
I'm gonna tell you that information. Get out of here.
3rd or 4th floor. Throw his ass out the window next time you see him.
No, I will not. So
throw his ass out the 4th floor window and say he jumped.
The point is, we understand.
The Life in General podcast is not.
Yes, the Life in General podcast is in no way condone violence towards any persons, entities, creatures, whatever.
Or promoting suicide by jumping out of the window.
Yeah, please don't do that. The big thing here is, yes, that message will be skewed, and then bam, there you go. But that's how it is, right? That's just how it's going to be. And they say one rotten apple spoils the bunch and all this. And it's something that it does matter because people will hear buzzwords or trigger words, right? And then think, nope, that's bad. They're doing something wrong. They're thinking incorrectly. They're the enemies. And then we hearken back to what you were saying earlier. You got to pick a side. Why? Yeah. It's something where you've had 60 something years to pick a side, and then you pick the last two to get uppity about it. And it's like, why? Is it just because you have more information being shoved at you than any time before?
I quit listening to a whole bunch of it, though. I started.
I understand that, but that doesn't answer the question of why now. What's that?
Scaling back on my bullshit.
The point is, we don't need to be in echo chambers. They don't need to be in echo chambers. Nobody does, right? We need to have the awareness to go search for other information, search for other things. It was something where another story that I heard was there was a guy, I'm not sure on what road it was, but he got shot by supposedly 9 different policemen. Okay, well, that person would not be there anymore, right? with how many times they got shot. And I'm thinking, that's all the information I was given. So what does that say? Does it mean police brutality is gigantic and it's crazy and like, why in the world would you have to shoot somebody 9 times or whatever?
Because he kept moving. So
to that point, it's about the information you're given. And then, yes, I'll look more up on that later. But it's like, that's all I was given at first. It was like a headline. Because understand this, folks. The titles that people use, us included, are trying to be somewhat engaging, somewhat provocative, so you click. So you get a little...
I like that. I like that. Hot mics and hot nurses. That was,
there you go.
Yeah.
So
the nurses were hot. Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's all trying to get your attention, because what is your most precious commodity? It's your time and attention, because that's finite. Like, it's finite. You could have $10 trillion and you're not going to get any more time out of that. And of course, people can argue, you can buy things to save you time. Yes, but the point is, you're not going to live forever. All right. That's it. So
yeah, you're going to spend more time trying to figure out how to pay tax on 10 trillion.
No, I won't, because the IRS ain't going
to pay somebody else. Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. It is tax time, though, isn't it?
According to
not trying to segue into that shit. No.
Yeah, the Blackburn podcast is in no way condone tax time.
Yeah. The IRS takes the money from you, every week anyway, and then spends it, and then they scuffle it all up at the end of the year, try to give it back to you. Yeah,
that is one way to look at it.
Yep. I was saw where there was a new book that came out. It was the number 1 on the bestseller list, and it's called Red Handed. And
I didn't know you could read.
I just looked at the pictures on the front and the back. But it's about the Biden. It goes deeper into specifics than Laptop from Hell did it. And I don't have access. I do have access to a bookstore here, but I haven't stopped to look see if all the books are in
Spanish.
Yeah, it's a little kiosk at the mall.
Yeah, in English, in Inglesia is like, a little section.
Yeah, it might be. I bet I could have them order me one, probably, if I wanted to read it, but I don't want to read any more of that kind of stuff. But anyway, it's called Red Handed, and it goes deeper into the corruption, and they're gonna dig it all out. Eventually, they'll dig it all out. Like I said, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen, but, Yeah. Did you see where Pelosi said she was going to run again?
I did not, but have you started on the time-traveling book that is Applied Economics with Thomas Sowell, like the 1,200-page book yet?
No, because I'm reading Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life.
Oh, cool.
Right now.
How are you liking that?
It was good. It's good. My wife thinks I need to read The Disconnected Man because I'm disconnected from everything. It's a book that she bought me a long time ago, years ago.
Oh, I think you're behind the times then if she's telling you need to read it.
The Disconnected Man, yeah. Disconnect me from what? Unplug me, send me somewhere. Oh, yeah.
Well, that's kind of wild.
Yeah. So, and I'm working on the camera. Just so you know, we're going to have Traveling with Tom, or Touring with Tom, here very shortly.
Yeah, those will be fun little 10-minute segments at the end, or and whatnot. But that'd be wild.
Yes, it will.
I think it'd be kind of neat. Just get some royalty-free music going on, and then just play your stuff in triple time and just kind of
I can play La Bamba or something in the background. You know? But you know what I found interesting? Nobody said anything about the playoff games. You got 70,000 people over here without a mask. You got 70,000 people over here without a mask. You know, they showed Gavin Newsom standing with Magic Johnson out there at the LA Stadium, you know, and nobody's got a mask on.
Okay.
Nobody's got a mask, but you want me to wear a mask. But you got 70,000. Did you check everybody's vaccine card before they came in?
I think so.
I think hell no, not 70,000 people.
Sure.
You're gonna pay $400 or $500 for a ticket, and you want to check my vaccine card?
They have to check the ticket, don't they?
I'm just saying.
And they check bags going in there too.
Well, they make you be vaccinated to go into the mall, but they still make you wear a mask.
Yeah.
Why do I have to wear a mask? We've all been over this and over this and over this.
Because the vaccine is not the same kind of vaccine you've had before where you will not get it. This is something that reduces symptoms. So if you can still catch it, you will hopefully not spread it if you wear a mask.
I got the Sinovac vaccine down here because I was going to do international traveling, which I've done, and I had to be vaccinated. I had to be vaccinated to get back into the country. That's no ifs, ands, or buts. You got to be vaccinated to get back into Ecuador. And I got the Sinovac vaccine, and I asked the lady through a translator, I said, well, where does this come from? She said, oh, it comes from China. I said, well, what better vaccine to have than the people that developed the virus developed the vaccine for it? Probably before they developed the virus.
So Life in General Podcast is in no way accuse the great entity that is China for making any sort of accusations.
Oh, no, I'm just saying that I got the Chinese vaccine. That's what Sinovac is. Now Pat got AstraZeneca because she's not over 60 and she has asthma. So they gave her a different medicine than they gave me.
Speaking of the whole China thing and medicines and whatnot, I was surprised at how much we import medicine. Just straight up. I mean, so many pills, vitamins, and all that stuff you're getting. It's coming from Asia.
I wish I had taken a picture of this display that they had in Mexico City at the airport.
Oh,
because the first two shelves said Z-Pack.
Mm-hmm.
The second two shelves said ivermectin. The second two shelves down here said hydroxychloroquine.
Wow.
And then, and you could buy those things right there in the airport across the counter. They had this beautiful display set up of COVID medicines. Oh, it was pretty badass. I thought, well, you won't see that anywhere else.
Well, now I've heard it. They've made it very hard to get. Was it ivermectin or? It's not hydroxychloroquine. Maybe ivermectin. I think they were talking about where you can get that super easy, and then now you can't. I mean, there are certain things they're taking away from over-the-counter usage or closing things out, and not all COVID related, right? There are certain things out there that just made you healthier overall in certain ways, and they're like, no. They don't want you to be wealthy.
They don't want you to be healthy.
Correct.
They don't want you to be healthy. They don't want you to be wealthy. They don't want you to be well. They want you dependent on the government. Government's got to control everything.
Well,
so now they vote November 2022. Vote these people out.
Something that, one of the things that they're going to say is, well, you can't vote us all out at the same time because then the system will collapse because no one's going to know what the hell's going on.
No, they'll know. They'll know. I'm sure that somebody will bring them up to speed. But you don't need Pelosi's in there at 81 or 82 years old. Bernie Sanders like 83 years old. Chuck Schumer. All these guys are in their late 70s, early 80s. Get out, man. Get the hell out of here. Been in business for... You see where they're balking now on the stock trading law?
What do you mean?
They're going to pass it.
Oh, you mean where you can't have basically insider trading information because they control the rules?
Yes. And now they're trying to balk on that and do something different.
I mean, we've talked about this several times before. Why in the world would I make up rules that would not benefit me?
I understand. That's why you got to vote them out.
That's it.
Not that the next guy or girl's not going to do the same thing, but at least give them a chance to do something different.
Well,
are you going to run for office?
Not right now. Ain't no way, man.
Why not? What the hell? I mean, I don't understand.
Your boy's busy. I got to take care of business. Shit. Well, and not only that, like it's a busy and chaotic time, and it's a scenario where I got to focus on other things. And one thing I'm not a big fan of doing, because I did look into a little bit about what you have to do, and you got to get like so many signatures or preliminary votes or whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, I could get them, but I'm a lazy piece of shit, so it's not happening. And well, I mean, especially not for politics, because then they start delving into your past, and I'm thinking, I don't want to see pictures of my old Facebook account out there. Not that I ever did anything wrong, but I just look like an idiot, and there you go.
What did you find out about Fresh and Fit?
Yeah, Fresh and Fit. So that's a podcast out there that, I mean, it is very much provocateur, right? You have two guys on there, two young guys, and their producer and a couple of people in their studio, which has to be like an apartment in Miami. And it's something where they get guys and girls on there, and they talk about opinions, they talk about facts, they talk about all sorts of wild stuff, but they talk about, or their purpose is to make guys successful in the dating world. And it is interesting in some regards. Sometimes they just come off as mean. It just seems like they are very direct, which a lot of people in today's culture do not like. Okay?
Right.
They do not use a lot of tact. And that's something where one of the reasons why I thought you might want to look into it is just because they are so direct and blunt with people that it would be a breath of fresh air, or, you know, a breast of fresh ass, like from the Wild Wild West, right? Because a lot of their shows, they bring on these not like beautiful bombshell women and talk to them about relationships, men, what do they want, what do men want. And what is wild, 80% of women, if not more, want people who are in that 10% range of guys. Okay, well, it is incredible what the guys say back to them. Okay, what's her name? Fresh and Myron. And it just comes off as insanity because, of course, everybody wants the best, right? Air quotes. That's kind of the deal. Well, when you have X amount of percent chance to get that person, well, we think, okay, well, at that point, what is the next logical conclusion? You need to settle. Okay, well, so many people nowadays, especially women, are being told, never settle, you're worth it, baby, blah, 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 right? And, of course, I'm saying that, blah, 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 right, just to not go any further with that. I'm not discounting this silly Mel Gibson movie, What Women Want, right? Point being is, the level of expectation out there goes to the moon, right? And oftentimes, it's not going to happen. And then when it does, it's not going to be in the way that you think. And one of their biggest things that they bring up is cheating, okay? And the way that men and women define their worth, right? Because women define their worth, I mean, not women defining themselves, their worth, but they define it as it's like their bodies, right? Well, men, it's their wealth, right? So it is, it's wild when they go into it. I'm not going to go any further with it. Just check it out. It's interesting. Some things are enlightening. Some things are like, damn, that's kind of messed up. So it's just something that's kind of provocative, that it's just different. And of course,
opinionated, right?
Right. Well, here's the deal. Are you opinionated when what you're spewing are facts? Like statistics. Is that your opinion?
Well, I guess. It's your opinion.
It's not. They're facts.
You wouldn't
they
be
are
saying
statistical facts.
You wouldn't be saying it. Well, does your opinion have to be false? Can't your opinion be factual?
It can be, and that will mean it is your opinion, but at that point, it loses credibility if it is just your opinion without backing it up in any way.
Okay.
If you're trying to persuade people. If not, okay, think how you want. Totally fine. That is totally up to you. We are all autonomous thinking people, free thinking people, totally fine. But if you have an opinion and there are no facts underlying said opinion, and you're trying to change someone's mind, it's never going to work because it's all going to be anecdotal. It's all going to be my experience, yada, yada. And it's like, hey, I get it. People don't listen to me for a very good reason, right? Because a lot of the times it's anecdotal. But a lot of the other times there are facts. But then again, I'm just an asshole. So then it comes off as, well, it comes down to that as, it wasn't what you said, it's how you said it. And what have we said plenty of times before on this podcast? People will not remember what you said to them. They will remember how you made them feel.
Right. I get it, how you said it all the time. It's not what you said, it's how you said it.
Right. But the issue is that comes into play way too much nowadays. That people will say, oh, this person's mean, or this person's a this or a that or whatever, because they're being direct, because they don't want to waste their time.
Right.
That's just how it is. Boom. So it is, it's wild. And of course the people get on there and start doing their business, and everyone has wild ass things to say. So
going back to the trucker convoy, another reason it probably won't happen in the U.S. is they said it gives them the autonomous trucks. I thought about you. It gives the autonomous trucks the gateway.
Oh, 1,000%.
The driverless trucks, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, pull over, baby, because we got this. And they send these driverless trucks out. So.
But one of the issues there with driverless trucks is, who controls the trucks?
I have no idea.
So if it's a government mandated thing, then they can say, well, y'all are just being kind of crappy to us, so we're going to slow those trucks down, or we're going to stop them. And then people start to suffer, right? It'll be something it's going to take a hot minute for those trucks to get out there for sure.
Right. I hope it rolls across the border, comes into the States.
You mean comes this way?
Yeah, because it's supposed to roll into D.C. or roll into northeastern United States here shortly.
I was going to say, if it's a freaking convoy, you can make it from X, Y to Z place pretty quickly.
But it's 72 miles long last time I heard, and that was 3 days ago.
Jeez.
And more people are adding to it. That's like Memphis. That's like Memphis to Jackson.
I was going to say, it's just like it's like Forrest Gump, man. People just like, why are you doing this? I just like running. So people just start joining up and stuff.
Yep.
That is nuts, man.
And you can live in those trucks with a fridge and a microwave and a coffee maker and all that stuff. And they'll sit idle for 3, 4, 5 days with the 1,000 gallons of fuel, 2 500-gallon tanks or 2 300-gallon tanks, whatever they are. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
I hope it gets their attention. I really do, without somebody screwing it up. But somebody's always got to screw it up. Somebody's always got to stick their nose in it, or stick their face in it, or stick something in there that doesn't belong.
Yeah.
The Nazi flag bullshit, I can see somebody taking that and snapping that stick in the hand and rolling that flag up and beating the guy with it. Just because
they very well may have that.
Skewing the message.
But that's the point. And what is nuts here? What is nuts is, think about if that was the opposition to this message.
Maybe the guy that had the Nazi flags is the one that got shot 9 times.
No, the guy who got shot 9 times, or by 9 officers. I don't know how many times he got shot, but he supposedly had a box cutter.
Ooh.
Hey man, you used to tell me all the time. It just takes this much to right in there, and then
that's it. That's
done,
right,
man.
About 40 seconds you laid out. Did you see where the lady was shot on I-65? Somebody pulled up beside her and fired 5 rounds into her car.
Wow, no.
In your neighborhood.
I don't leave the hovel.
You should get out more often.
Oh, so I can get shot at?
You should get out more often so you can be shot at.
That I mean, as humorous as we think that is, speaking of that, I actually have one more story, and then we can polish off this turd. Another friend of mine actually were in the doctor's office in Vanderbilt, right?
Okay.
And this person, they said he was a retirement age looking person who started to get uppity with the nurses, or with the nurse who was there, because this is in the waiting room, right?
Okay.
Well, this person did not want a mask. Okay. Mask up there, buddy. You're in Vanderbilt. You're in a hospital. You got to mask up.
Right. Okay.
He did not want to, and so he started getting a little bit irate. Okay, well then he starts spouting off that says, God will protect us. You all are a bunch of heathens for not believing in him, for wearing masks and yada yada, and it started to get really wild. Well, okay, that happens. This lady comes up, my friend's like over here in the corner, saying, okay, this is ridiculous. This lady comes up and says, well, if you don't like the rules, you can get out, and because, you're putting us in jeopardy and all this. And so she was escalating the situation instead of de-escalating. So then my friend thinks, oh, that dumb bitch, they're going to get us killed, because if this guy is that irate, and of course this was an elderly white man, whatever, he might have a gun.
Well, he has to have a gun because he's an elderly white gentleman.
He reached into his pocket, and that's when they thought, oh, hold up, because hey, people doing that stuff get you beat up, shot, whatever, if they think you're drawing for a weapon. And what was very interesting to me was that my friend was more mad at the person wanting to escalate the situation than it seemed like the original, what you would call perp, right? Where, hey, this dude's get mad, he's going to just tire himself out because he can't do anything anyways, and he's going to walk out. Right? Not following the rules, walk out, boom, done.
Right.
But they thought they were going to get shot too, and I thought to myself, to me, that's very concerning, because there has not been a point in my life, save for one time, that I thought, I'm going to get shot. Like, I'm just going to die here. And there just hasn't ever been that sort of instance in my life. And I'm very fortunate that it's only happened once. And when it did, I was a teenager, and then, it's all good. But yeah, in my 34 years, I've been very fortunate to not ever have that thought go through my mind of like, it's time. It's over. Like, it's just over, because it happens in an instant, right? So that was just pretty, and so that's why I'm bringing this up. I kind of feel bad, kind of chuckling at that. We teed it up perfectly, but yeah, people go out and they're scared. Like, they are very fearful, which, it's a sad state of affairs.
And they shouldn't be, but it's so divisive out there now. It is right or wrong,
yeah.
Black or white, left or right. It's all that's what they want. That's what the government wants. LIG, you got to go with that.
Watch some league. And I'm not sure if it's just the government that wants that, but it is definitely
the like button. The like button.
Yeah. There are definitely entities out there who would love for the message to continue to be fight amongst yourselves, because if you're fighting amongst yourselves, you're not looking where you need to, and then fighting the boogeyman, if that makes sense.
Right. You're right. So, you're exactly right.
Pretty wild, man.
November, get off your ass and go vote.
November, or early voting if you can. So get out there, find out where you can vote, and do it to it. Like,
in Gallatin, we voted at the Freedom Church.
Yeah, that's where I voted. That was a long ass time in that line, and something that I will not forget it anytime soon is the person running that booth up to the one I went to, right? Because they have several different kinds of people up there, and we're snaking through this church, right, going through the auditorium and everything. And the person when I got up there, I still will not understand whether or not it was you only have to vote for the top person, i.e. the top rung, which was president. Everything else you can leave blank. And I don't know if that was to try to tell me. I mean, I might have been a dumbass out there. I'm not 100% sure what I look like that day. Most days I do, so to their credit. But were they telling me this so I don't make any changes to the current system?
Yes. Yes, they've been schooled, and they should keep their damn mouth shut. They shouldn't say anything.
Right. It should be, hey, here's how this functions.
Yeah, because when they told that to me, I told them to shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear it. Nothing that you got to say. Point me to the booth. I don't want to hear anything you got to say.
It was just, I thought it was pretty interesting.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit that they let them get away with it. That's like letting people pass out literature on the premises and stuff. That's crappy too.
Something that I know a few of my more liberal friends will think, oh man, you can't offer this person water or whatever. And of course my thought goes to, it's not about the water. It's about the money taped to the water, or this person goes out and buys steaks and then this person goes out and buys McDonald's. Well, which one do you want? And then it gets really funky really quickly.
Your own water. Bring your own water, bring a sack lunch, and get your ass out there and vote.
Well, get out there and vote. Is there anything else you'd like to tell our lovely audience out there?
No, thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching the Life in General podcast here with Tom and Jay. We will catch you all in the next episode.
See you.